There's a very interesting article in the Financial Times today. In fact, I think it was written yesterday by Lucy Fisher. And she was looking at the problems of the justice system in the face of the calls for judges to sit through the nights and process the rioters. So the response to the recent riots in England and Northern Ireland has, rather than demonstrated skill and speed, it's exacerbated existing challenges within the UK system, says Lucy Fisher in her article in the Financial Times. The swift push to prosecute rioters, including the night court sessions, has put additional strain on the already overburdened system rather than showing a way ahead. The system is already grappling with a backlog of 68,000 cases in the Crown Courts. Her analysis reveals that the effort to expedite justice for riot-related cases has led to concerns about the long-term implications of the justice system. The sudden influx of cases related to the riots risks diverting resources and attention from other long-standing cases, potentially prolonging the wait for justice for countless others, rather than offering a way forward. While the government is eager to impose stiff penalties for those involved in the riots, the emphasis on those cases may not have yet directly impacted the resolution of older cases, but it has certainly highlighted the precarious state of the system. And throwing more people in prison when just a few days ago, just a few weeks ago, people were wringing their hands about the failure or the overcrowding of prisons. Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood has acknowledged that these recent events will make the job of rebuilding the justice system harder. She has cited issues inherited from the previous Conservative administration, such as prison overcrowding and the backlog. And this situation has compelled the government to take drastic measures, including the early release of prisoners who've served 40% of their sentences starting in September, to alleviate the overcrowding. But actually, this administration has just added to that overcrowding. Lucy Fisher also underscores the concerns raised by Stephen Parkinson, the Director of Public Prosecutions, who's indicated that more charges are expected to follow as the police enter a new phase of their investigations into the riots. Parkinson's remarks underscore the complexity of prosecuting these cases, especially when seeking convictions for rioting, which carries more severe penalties but requires more substantial evidence. And there will be, as various newspapers and reports have suggested, prosecutions for incitement. So the social media wags who've been winding up the rioters may have to beware, as that is coming. The approach to handling these riot-related cases has drawn criticism for its potential to deepen the crisis within the justice system. And critics argue that prioritising these cases might lead to the neglect of other serious matters, further delaying justice for victims and defendants in unrelated cases. The situation underscores the broader issue of justice delayed, justice denied, where the backlog and the strain on resources creates an environment where timely justice is increasingly unattainable. And the statistics are stark. With 68,000 cases pending in the Crown Courts, the system is already overwhelmed. The decision to accelerate riot-related prosecutions, while potentially useful, while politically expedient, risks exacerbating the existing backlog and may compromise the overall quality and fairness of justice in the UK. Justice is tired. And justice is smothered in a form of bureaucracy which would make the NHS look happy. We need to take a knife to a lot of this bureaucracy. We need to take a knife to a lot of the paperwork. We need to trim the bureaucracy in the NHS, in justice, in education, in policing. And what we particularly need is to have one bureaucratic system in each case. Of course, that makes us very dependent on a system that can go badly wrong, like, for example, the post office. So it's swings and roundabouts. But without that, you end up with the NHS nonsense where, as I found to my own alarm, when I asked for a copy of paperwork I'd already been given, what I got was something completely different. It looked different, but the content was completely different. In fact, the content was contradictory. One bit of paperwork had come from a hospital, one bit of paperwork had come from my GP. It makes no sense. Except they were produced by two completely separate bureaucratic systems. So, you know, if we're going to throw ourselves on a health system which has an inconsistent bureaucratic system supporting it, driving it, then we must expect problems. And if that's a system that we roll out for other parts of our civil society, then we must expect problems. We can only hope to be consistent if either we have one system or we have human beings who can engage with it and with whom you can reason. Take the human beings out. We need to have a consistent system that works. We need to learn from the problems of the Horizon scandal, rather than pursue a sort of political or legal vendetta against the Horizon organization. We need to find out how can we have a system which is big enough to accommodate all the issues, but is not going to be fraught with errors of this nature, or if there are errors, they can be corrected in a timely fashion. How can we be sure? We need to learn from Horizon rather than pretend it didn't happen. So the current strategy to address riot-related offences may provide short-term gains in public confidence, but it's going to help, I'm afraid, to undermine the justice system's ability to function effectively in the long term, unless we can do something about the bureaucracy and about our expectations. If we can get judges and legal systems to sit through the night for this, maybe they'll sit through the night for the to clear some of that backlog. We need to do the same thing with the Home Office. Maybe we need to commit our entire nation to sitting through the night. Maybe we need to increase the people that we employ in public service, so we have a night shift as well as a day shift. That would certainly help to speed up the Home Office problems. But the impact of whatever approach, the impact of what we've done with the riot justice will be felt for years as the backlog grows and the challenge of delivering timely justice rather than knee-jerk justice becomes ever more daunting.